Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
Oh my God, are you seeing this shit, bro? Tesla closed at $695. What the hell is going on?
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
Now with IBM getting in here, I think it's just going to come more to the forefront, and people are going to get more and more eyeballs on Salesforce. Should see a really nice move.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
We got D's nuts in the crew. Every
Hell
crew
yeah.
needs D's nuts. You know what D's nuts' #1 holding is? Big C.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up?
going on?
What up,
What's going on,
everybody?
guys?
Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. And man, did I think my bracket was busted after Ohio State lost? Boy, was I wrong.
What does that mean? It's still busted?
It's even more busted now.
Oh.
Have you not been watching any of it?
I have. I've been watching all of it. When you said, boy, was I wrong, you thought you were busted. Then you said, boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, as in like, I thought that what meant busted until everything else happened.
I didn't do a bracket, but I've been, what do you call it? A la carte picking. I've actually been pretty on point. I haven't checked the scores now. Currently, I have, who's West Virginia playing? Syracuse.
Yeah.
I have Syracuse. And I have Texas Tech. So I'm not sure if they're losing right now. They're playing Arkansas, I think.
Texas Tech looked really good on Friday.
Yeah, they got Mac McCung, or whatever the hell his name is. McCung, dude.
Yeah,
He's freaking awesome. So I've been going a la carte.
Did you call Loyola beating?
No, Illinois.
Yeah,
No, I didn't pick that game actually.
that was a sight to see.
Yeah, they looked really good. I'll
real
tell
good.
you who else looked really good was Baylor. Looked really good.
Yeah, they
By the way, people.
dominated both games.
West Virginia beat Syracuse. I don't think that's true. Really? Syracuse was whooping them. I didn't see the final
a couple
score.
people. Rudy Brown even said it, so maybe they did.
Rudy Brown said West Virginia just lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
All right. But
I'll
anyways,
confirm that.
anyways, it was a fun weekend to watch some basketball. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see some of the underdogs roll in. It's one of the craziest, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen this many upsets in March Madness.
Yeah, Toscano, you're wrong. They won 75-72. Syracuse won.
There we go.
But WVU came back. Wow. Manuel, this is our studio. This is not our house. But it could be a house.
It's big enough
if it
to
had
be
a
one.
shower, we'd be good.
Yeah, shower and a stove.
So, for those of you who haven't been here before, welcome to Stock Watch Sunday, Own the Chaos channel. We usually talk sports here and there, but really this is about stock market. And Sunday is our day to get right.
Yes.
Right? We're going to talk about a couple topics, what's going on this week, what we're going to expect. We have our top 5 stocks, not five. And then we have the cheesecloth condom that Brad's going to come out with, as well as a top stock under $10. Are you ready for those? No?
I have the top stock.
You'll
Under
have time.
I have under $10.
Okay. So, what say you, my friend? You ready to roll?
Let's do this. I got a couple of topics that I wanted to chat about tonight. And obviously, as the title represents, we will be talking about Cathie Wood's fresh new price target on Tesla. But before we get to that, we got a couple of other things we want to address. So make sure you're sticking around, hitting that like button, all that good stuff while you wait. And the top 5 is...
We got Alan, Savvy, Sam Cisneros, Sean, and team coaching. Nate, you're number 12.
Those are the first 5 people that showed up as soon as we posted our live stream. So thanks for hanging out and showing up first.
What do we got? What are we talking about
So the
today?
first thing I wanted to talk about was we've seen an uptick in COVID cases.
Yeah.
Which, it's still a cause for concern. We have a lot of variants rolling around. Daily cases are back above 60,000. I guess the one positive is that we're still seeing a massive amount of vaccines roll through, but still cause for concern. There's some downgrades on the banks. This could mean that we could see a yield pull back a little bit on the 10-year yield as far as the bond markets are concerned. This might be a good week for tech. Who knows? But that's something definitely to think about. Would you agree?
Yeah. When I saw the news about the rising COVID cases, my first thought was I'm interested to see the reaction, and I think there's a good chance we will see a nice little move on tech. Long term, I'm not really worried from like a macro, like economic standpoint or like just socially what that means.
Right.
Because we've seen this. There's like a latency period, right? Like everything's sort of a couple weeks behind. So should there be, should this be a surprise that there's a spike? Probably not. I mean, when the vaccine push came out, I think people in general got a little bit more comfortable. I mean, you see Miami just actually put in a curfew because of spring break.
Right. I was just about to say that, spring break.
And I mean, in general, we know that Florida and Texas have pretty much been operating status quo. But with people traveling there, we just had St. Patrick's Day. Just a lot of things going on that doesn't necessarily surprise me. On top of the fact that because of vaccines, I think people naturally are going to let their guard down a little bit. I'm not making commentary on that. I'm just sort of making a point in general.
Yeah.
However, when you look at vaccine distributions, the numbers are looking great. And I think we're making great progress. So you look in April, I think in April, we're going to get back to a point where we're getting confident that, the numbers are starting to subside again. And I think in general, the vaccines this summer, sort of herd immunity is what we've been talking about. I think we'll get there, which will be reflective in the market.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely going to be an uptick, but I don't know if there's really that much to necessarily worry about. I think it's just, there's definitely cause for concern, but I still think that we're on the right path. So sticking around into the reopening plays is still going to be a thing. But we've talked about this, about not leaving tech, for this reason, and this just being one reason why you shouldn't be leaving tech. We saw a lot of price target increases. Did you see that one major analyst from JP Morgan said a 175 price target for Apple?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Nice. So people are just really, I guess, noticing how much tech has gotten beaten down, and it has been, it's just an absolute huge opportunity for tech. This just might give it a little bit of a jump start if people start to get a little spooked.
Yeah. This feels a lot like when we were talking about the market rotation in Q4 last year.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen right away, but everyone was talking about it. And then all of a sudden you turned around and like all the stocks that were down during COVID were back to their pre-COVID levels. And you're looking like Southwest back to pre-COVID levels. You have all these stocks that are bouncing back hard.
Yep.
But it wasn't immediate. All of a sudden, it was like, okay, January hits, everything's back.
Yeah.
It feels the same way where it's like, tech's not gone. Tech's not moving. It's probably rather frustrating. But I think when it comes back, it's going to kind of come back with a vengeance. And those that aren't in it may miss the boat a little bit.
Yeah.
May miss the move. So I got a couple stocks that pertain to that today in our top 5. But I think we're going to start seeing more stocks with upgrades, price target upgrades, and tech overall moving. We'll get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on from that, GameStop has earnings this week. Tuesday, I believe. Tuesday after hours. Right. Tuesday after hours, they have earnings. Their estimating earnings per share is $1.35. That's right? $1.35.
Yeah, that's right.
Is the estimated earnings per share. I think that's probably. I don't know how they make that number. That seems kind of crazy to me.
Why is that?
I just don't know where that comes from. I honestly think that obviously maybe they made a much stronger presence in e-commerce than I thought, but it seems to me that would be an awfully high number. The low estimate's 84 cents. I think it's probably closer to that.
So what's your prediction?
I think it probably comes in at around 87 cents a share.
Okay. So go ahead.
And I just wanted to also reiterate that might not matter. The only reason that might not matter is because of the outlook and also with the hype that's surrounded around it. Maybe they come up with an outlook that somehow competes with Microsoft and Sony and all the other ones as far as gaming is concerned. We've heard the new leadership that's come in has talked about pivoting and trying to do that. My thing is, though, it's like, how do you compete with Microsoft when they're selling Xbox and they're selling games on Microsoft's own platform?
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen? How are you able to compete in that space? Or do they just go in a completely different direction and it's, I don't know, just a different area in gaming and you're not really focused on console gaming anymore?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the likely move is you do like a Roku approach, like you offer complementary services where these other companies, as they grow, you benefit, right?
Right.
I understand why it would surprise you about that number. And when I first looked at the number, $1.35 a share, I will say I felt similarly. However, when I looked at the numbers a little bit more, let me pull these for you. This quarter historically actually does really well.
Okay.
So let's look at the last 2 quarters, the most previous quarters. So a loss of 53 cents was December.
Yep.
In September was a loss of $1.40, okay? And so now we're saying, well, $1.35, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Last March, the 2 previous quarters was a loss of 49 cents, so pretty much the exact same, and a loss of 32 cents, which was better, but COVID was last year.
Right,
so.
right.
But 2 losses.
Yeah.
So they did loss of 32 cents, loss of 49 cents, and then the next quarter they came in at $1.27.
Is it just the holiday season?
I think so. Or, yeah, like holiday season, and maybe after, maybe people get consoles and they start buying stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it did it the year before as well. $1, it was like 5 cents the previous quarter, and then it was $1.60. So it seems like that's the quarter that it does well.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but I think maybe this is sort of a consumer behavior situation. Now, we talk about this with earnings. Forward looking, if you look at after this quarter, it's always a negative quarter.
Yeah.
So if they give negative guidance, who knows how that's going to respond? This being a meme stock, and who knows how this is going to respond? It's anybody's guess. So I think the traditional rule book on earnings plays is out the window with this one.
Yeah.
But if they beat, I expect it to go. I expect nobody to care what else they say, just on GameStop. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm going to want them to beat, so I'm going to say that they come in at $1.41. But here's the interesting thing I was wondering to myself when I was thinking about GameStop.
Yeah.
I said, Self, what do you think what do you think happens with GameStop, with all the situation coming on, with all the exposure? Because they've been getting PR.
Right.
The question I have is, how much has that benefited their revenue, their top line, because they're on the forefronts of people's mind?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it. So I actually think, this was their $1.35 estimate. Their guidance was from last quarter. So it was right before really the explosion happened.
Yeah.
I think they actually beat. And I think they actually have some good numbers because people are like they're just getting free publicity. So they're at the top of people's minds.
Here's why I just decided that this is my Triple C stock of the week.
Yeah.
They have not done an offering.
So you think
and wouldn't it be some shit if they did that during their earnings report? So maybe and that's the risk you run, right? I think that all of this craziness that's going on, they could have saved their company by doing an offering at any point above $40, and they still haven't done it. And so I still think that, first of all, they've been idiots to not do it up to this point, and nobody can explain to me why, any good reason why, other than, we're trying to save the little guy. That's not a good reason. And so I think that if they don't do an offering and it doesn't show up in this report, like, when is it going to be a good time, or are they going to do a good time? And do you have an opinion as to why they haven't done it yet?
No, I mean, I don't really know. However, when I looked at when I listened to their earnings last time, I do think they have a strategy. I do think they have a cost-cutting strategy, and maybe they're not through it yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a good reason, but I wonder how much more sort of trimming of the fat they're doing. And then usually that happens when you do an offering, it's after you've trimmed all the fat, and now, okay, how do we leverage it?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of, but it does not make a lot of sense. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it really scratches my head as far as that's concerned. Maybe we see that show up in the offer in the earnings on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We will be live on Tuesday. So you'll obviously get our reaction as far as that's concerned, and kind of thoughts on the whole thing as it unfolds. But it'll be interesting to see what GameStop does on Tuesday.
Absolutely. What do we got next?
All right. So as promised, ARK Invest, Cathie Wood, comes out with a new price target for Tesla for 2025.
Yeah.
The expected value of Tesla in 2025 is $3,000. The bull case is $4,000, and the bear case is $1,500. A lot of this is revolved around the robo-taxi development, and they think that if they can get to, basically they're expecting that robo-taxis will be a thing by 2025, and that's what's going to propel this stock. That's what's going to set them apart and continue to add margin. The margin expectation is at 50%.
Wow.
If that,
for the robo-taxi?
For everything, once the robo-taxi comes in.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's insane.
It is.
Absolutely insane.
It's like Facebook numbers almost.
Yeah. So they believe that there's a 25% probability that they'll see the bull case or the bear case, and 50% probability that we'll see it at 3,000 by 2025. Now, I will say, everybody thought Cathie was crazy in 2018 for calling out a $3,000 or $2,000 price target for Tesla in 2018, and that was pre-split. It did actually do that. But is she still on the right track? Is she going a little crazy on this? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Man, it's anybody's guess. Was it Tesla was a 5-to-1 or was it 4-to-1? It was
5-to-1 split.
5-to-1
Yeah. So
that means that
7,000 was the price target expectations for 2024.
Well, I'm just saying more of this.
Yeah.
Expected value 3,000. That means that pre-split was essentially, if she said $15,000.
Yeah. And it was 7,000 previously.
Yeah, so she essentially doubled.
Right.
I hear you on robo taxi. Yes, I think that's realistic. The only thing is, the main reason is because Tesla's always trying to do new stuff. So it's not the robo-taxi for me. I think that's great.
Yeah.
But it's more of like, what are they thinking about that nobody else is thinking about?
Yeah.
It feels a lot. I don't know if this is a good analogy, but it feels a lot like Apple with Steve Jobs. It's like they're giving us stuff we didn't need. We didn't know we needed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or we didn't know it was possible.
Right.
And Tesla does that. So to me, the future value of Tesla is the innovation and the things that they do that like we don't realize we need. And the fact that they can do it more profitable than anybody else bodes well. That's exciting. If that's, man, if they're 50%, if they have 50% margins, that's absolutely bananas.
It sounds almost unachievable. But when you think about it this way, okay, people thought that 20+% profit margins on vehicles in 2021 was unachievable, and they're doing that.
Yeah.
It's the industry standard for normal vehicles is somewhere around 12 to 15%. If you get above that, you're considered pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So with Tesla already being at 20%, and then you add the ride-hailing side to it, there really isn't all that much overhead when it comes to the ride-hailing side and the robo-taxis. So it does make sense. A couple of other things. $36,000 average vehicle price by 2025.
That's awesome.
Electric vehicle revenue will be $367 million is the bull case. Insurance revenue, which we don't really talk about, would be around $6 million. And I don't know why the discrepancy there, because the bear case seems to be more. I don't know. It's interesting. The ride hailing is going to be $327 million is what they're expecting in revenue. So just some really great numbers here. And the thing of it is that blows me away is that this is well above Apple's market cap.
Yeah.
At 4,000 or even 3,000. 3,000 I think puts them at, I don't know, 2.7 trillion, I think, if I did the math correctly on that, somewhere around there. But either way, it's well above what Apple's would be. Now, who knows what Apple will be in 2025? Maybe they'll be more than well over that. That's
especially
very possible. Yeah, and they have the car obviously too. So it's very possible. It does blow my mind to think that we could see Tesla at that price point. I was thinking that maybe we hit 1,000 by the end of this year, and I still think that's very much a possibility. Man, 3,000.
Yeah, that would be
even
nuts.
4,000. The bull case is 4,000.
That would be nuts.
That would be absolutely insane. Let us know what you guys think in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this later. But yeah, is Cathie right? I think that, in my opinion, it's hard to go against her. But it seems as if that is just an unachievable number in 4 years. We're talking nearly $3 trillion, if not $3 trillion.
Yeah, I think what you have to factor in though is Tesla's doing a great job in establishing the infrastructure to be able to grow.
Yeah.
Now look at margins. We talked about their battery factory, and we've also talked about the most expensive piece of the car. Is it correct that it was? You said the battery is the most expensive piece of the car.
Correct. Yeah.
And so they're going to look to improve efficiencies, and their whole idea is that's why we build a factory, right?
Yeah.
Increase range, increase efficiencies, and so right there, it's clear they're attacking the margins.
Yep.
So it's exciting to see things. I mean, it's certainly possible. I don't think with Tesla anything's possible now. And the whole point we've always made is get behind somebody, like get behind leadership you can trust. As long as Elon's there, 2025, I wouldn't bet against him. I would never bet against Elon.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that I would bet against them. I just don't know if I would say that, yes, they're going to be a $3 trillion company. I hope they are, because we both own a shit ton of it. It just seems crazy to me to think of it like that's just a number that I don't know if I can comprehend.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible growth, but with it going up, what, 1,000%?
Yeah, last year.
1,000% last year?
Yeah, last year, yeah.
You know, like...
I mean, we won't see another year from Tesla like we saw in 2020. I don't think we will. Nothing's out of the realm of possibility, but I just don't know if I see that happening again.
Yeah, but for it to get to 3,000...
That's over 300% move.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
In 4 years.
Right, yeah.
So I think the fact is that it's very much possible.
Yeah.
And we know how this thing moves. This stock is volatile as all get out.
Yeah.
And so it could move like that quick. I mean, it could be at 1,000 like that. So
yes,
we'll see. We'll see what else it has going on outside of just the robo-taxi. Obviously, solar, nobody really talks about that much.
Yeah, the solar side of it is going to be big too.
Yeah, so
the margins on that should be awesome.
We'll see continued growth. And the one thing I will say is, over the next 4 years, is the administration is favorable for Tesla.
Yep, we talked about the tax credits and all that.
Yeah. So we'll see how that factors in. And so I think based on that, I can see a lot of things working in their favor over the next 4 years, because they're already up and running. These other companies are trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
They're already up and running. It's just time for them to continue to sort of put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah. You can't put your foot on the gas, but you can on the accelerator, I guess. So anyways, that's our thoughts. Like I said, put your thoughts down in the chat, in the comments. If you're watching it later, we'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this as well. So the next part of our show, as per the usual, if you guys aren't familiar, we go over our top 5 stocks that we're watching for the week. So most of them are usually revolved around earnings, and this week's going to be no stranger to that, or no different, I should say. And for me, the first stock that I am watching is going to be Winnebago. Now, Fat Man Zoom, you brought up a really good point a couple weeks ago about travel and how it's going to really pick up. But before international travel picks up, domestic travel is going to be what absolutely goes crazy. And we saw this last year. The reason we saw domestic travel pick up, especially when it came to RVs and camping and that sort of thing, and even Airbnb to a certain extent. I mean, Airbnb was still down, but 102 million nights booked last year is still an incredible number. So, with the reason that the domestic travel is going to continue to boom is because international travel is still restricted to a certain degree, and people are still going to want to have that pent up demand. Estimated earnings per share on Winnebago is at $1.40. I think, in my opinion, that they beat that slightly. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, but what I'm really looking forward to as far as Winnebago is concerned, the earnings, by the way, are pre-market on Wednesday. Yes, pre-market on Wednesday. And I think the outlook here is what's going to be really big. They had a big year last year. They ended up doing an offering in the middle of summer, which, in my opinion, was smart on their part to be able to kind of get ahead of a lot of things because they were having trouble keeping up with demand. So I think that they're really well set up to do really well going into the summer months.
So what's your guess, your estimate?
$1.42 is what I have Winnebago coming in at.
Why do I have it at 226? Did I write the wrong number down? What's the
estimated earnings per share on that is $1.40.
What the hell did I put? I had 226. What is that? All right, so
it's all good.
I'll say $1.89. I agree with you. And I don't know how much it matters that international won't be reopening, even if international opened. International travel opens. I still think there's